because I was having an issue with our Samsung over with the range microwave, and I couldn't find any detailed, photos or videos on the internet of tearing it apart and putting it back together. So it was a thermostat switch. What you'll see here is just a mashup of all the videos I did from the uninstall, reinstall, the take apart, and the replacement of the switch. So hope it helps. Hopefully this is enough of a shot of the uninstall, reinstall. You've got these two bolts that shoot down from the top into the top of the unit. So this sheet metal piece that you see along the wall supports the bottom back of the microwave. Obviously you see those little hooks. So what you need to do, what I did, is set a box on the stovetop, wedge some books underneath of it just to support the bottom of the microwave while I loosened up these two bolts. Got down off my step stool, let the unit rock forward to get it up over the lip on this metal, and then the cord obviously fishes right down through the cord hole. I actually pushed it through the cord hole before I removed the unit just so it didn't get hung up. Hopefully that's enough of a shot. So the reinstall is just the opposite. Hang it on the hooks, put the cord through the hole, rock it up into place, have somebody support it, or you can prop it up yourself, get up there and install those two bolts. Alright, so this switch is the one that I removed. It's a thermostat in my Samsung microwave. This is the replacement that I found. This one here is, both are normally closed thermal switches. The original was rated at 120 degrees C. The only replacement at the local store is rated at 122, so that shouldn't be a problem. Here what you can see is I've jumpered across, so this is how we troubleshot. Right down in there, I'm not sure if you can see it very well. Down in there you see that kind of U-shaped piece of flat metal. That is what these little wings slide up under. So I think this is going to fit. If not, I'll try to swap these collars over. It's a little bit difficult to get them over the contactors. Anyway, the unit was completely dead. What initially happened is it seemed like it tripped the circuit breaker, so I came out here, reset the circuit breaker. It worked one time. Then the following day we went to heat something up and the unit went completely dead again. We thought we had a bad circuit breaker, but we don't. The outlet's got power, so went online, thanks to the discussion thread guys, found out that these thermal switches are going bad in some of these units. So appreciate the help from those guys. I'll post a link below to get there, because there were some other good ideas. Anyway, the switch goes right there, so disconnected the wires from the switch. Just inserted a little wire jumper across it, plugged the unit in, and it works just fine. So we were confident that it's the switch. I'm going to get everything put back together here and get back to you later. Here you can see the switch reinstalled. Those little wings just slide up under that metal, just like I said. They don't screw in at all. It's just held in there by friction. So you push the metal down around it, and the 122 degree switch works fine. Unit's working great. I'll get a shot of the outside shell of the microwave here in a second. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the hardware. These button head silver screws were around the back edge of the unit, and the rest of these button head screws are along the sides, along the bottom edge, and some up top. There are two of these flat-headed screws, see if you can see that, and one other button head screw that's just slightly longer than the rest, so I've separated them. The two flat ones are up top in the front of the unit. They hold this piece in place. When you open the door, you'll see how that piece, it just the skin of it goes over top, and those two screws hold this like that. In order to remove this piece, what you do is remove these two flat screws, open the door, and then the whole piece slides to the left and pulls straight out. There's just little edges on the bottom that catch, kind of like a case on a computer. Those little tabs right there, and these little directional things. So you just slide it left and it pops right out. And I'll show you how the case goes on here in a second. So the skin of the thing has a lip on the bottom, so you have to remove the bottom panel first with the lights on it. I'll give you a picture of that in a minute. Essentially this thing goes on like this. You just have to butterfly it out, make sure the sheet metal goes around the back, and as it slides down into place, the lip on the bottom goes down around. And then I'll turn the unit up on its back, put the bottom panel back in place, and put all the screws back in. To take it off, I removed all the screws from the sides, the top, and around the back edge, laid the unit up on its back, removed everything off the bottom, and then this whole piece, you just pop the little lip out on the bottom, and the whole piece just slides up as one unit. That's it. I'm sure you can see the little warning piece here, the little warning placard. That is a pretty serious capacitor, I guess, so If you're not comfortable with electronics, probably shouldn't be rooting around in a microwave anyway, but be cautious around that. You can ground it out if you want to. I just avoided it. The switch is kind of close to it, but I have pretty big hands and I didn't have a problem getting close to that capacitor. Just be aware of kind of where you're reaching your hands into these things. So here's a shot of the bottom and kind of the button head screws that you have to remove. You just remove the ones around the edges. You don't need to take off the ones on the light. So just take off the ones around the edges. There's none on this back edge. And this whole thing just comes out. There is a connector on the other side of those lights, so don't go yank it. You'll see it. There's plenty of room to disconnect the connector. Anyhow, when you get this off, the rest of the case comes off easy. Like I said, the screws on the side, the top, the back had already been removed. Pop the bottom off, and that's what kind of frees this thing up to come out a little bit and slide off toward the top of the unit.